Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we see your screen very well. So yeah, we're just gonna put you on the main screen here in the auditorium, and I will alert you to kick it off.
Yes, please tell me when I can.
Okay. Him down there.
Hello, is that Kausas?
Yes, this is me.
Oh, that's great. Great. So we are going to take off. Yeah, this part of the academic track section, and here we have Eleftheros Kausas.
I'm sorry for that. It's a Greek name.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So, yeah, we have you to make a presentation on OSM fitness of use for the global south. Yeah,
Exactly.
thank you, and take off.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here presenting. This is actually my master thesis that I concluded last year for the University of Utrecht in the Netherlands. My name is Eleftherios Kalsas, as you already know, and now I'm in Nairobi, Kenya. Greetings and good evening from Nairobi, where I work for UNESCO, the science sector. So let's start now with the presentation. Let's see, is that working? Yes. So I'm going to present the culmination of a comprehensive study aimed at assessing OpenStreetMap's potential to bolster health services in the global south. The research introduces a user-centric workflow, breaking away from generic data assessments that are mostly existing in the literature. I am employing a fitness of use framework and with two distinct cases, the counties of Wajir and Nairobi in Kenya. What I sought to address is the critical question revolving around the specific needs of health workers and OSM's vocabulary adequacy in meeting those requirements. Moreover, I explore the potential of semantic web technologies in unifying fragmented vocabularies in OSM. I investigated the correlation between OSM data and the quality of quality of OSM data and the humanitarian mapping projects that are in several places around the globe. For instance, as we'll see later, there was a correlation, strong correlation between quality and mapping of what OSM mapping in Wajir County. Let's move forward. A small introduction before going to the real material. So in the context of global climate change, all parts of the world are affected to a larger or smaller extent by unprecedented weather phenomena that can lead, amongst others, to natural disasters, food and water shortages, and displacements of population. In such environments where the need for emergency responses is growing bigger, every type of resource is valuable and indispensable. So the use of georeference data in humanitarian response to emergency can be crucial, especially in places where authoritative emergency mechanisms are not so well developed. So what was the problem statement in this research? So OSM, OpenStreetMap, allow me to say OSM, if you may. OSM gives the maximum degrees of freedom to the contributor to express their perspective of the world, regardless of their mapping competence. The different levels of experience or local knowledge and level of interest of each individual and engagement in the cause of the community, they're all different for each one of us. So that leads actually to different quality level of the data that it's produced. If we also take into account the inherent characteristic of each mapper that have to do with their sense of perfection, which is different for anyone, or the work ethic, which is also different for any one of us, then we understand that the spatial data in OSM can be marked by great heterogeneity. This heterogeneity can be reflected in positional and topological inaccuracies or incompleteness, depending on the area addressed. Moreover, it can be strongly reflected in the annotation of the mapped objects. The absence of any top-down standardization, as we all know, or any imposed ontology, let's say, taxonomy in the tagging system of OSM make it impossible to achieve a high level of consistency within the vocabularies used to describe map features and also their attributes, of course. For potential end users of OSM, like the field health workers, this inconsistency can result in an inability to find the information needed. In the map that we see here, it's produced by Pretty Maps. Actually, I used Pretty Maps to produce this map. And if you don't know Pretty Maps, you should try that. You can see the link up there. So we can see the buildings as of, let's say, November 23. I'm sorry, November 22, in black and red color. It doesn't matter the coloring here, it's just to make it pretty. But we see areas, for example, we can see the black at the west, the black area. It's Kibera. It's one of the biggest informal settlements in Africa, as I know. So we see the dense building footprint. Outside Kibera, there are buildings, but they are not mapped. So we can see the inconsistency and the gaps that exist in mapping. And we keep the most dense mapped area here, Kibera. We keep that for the next slides. Keep that in mind, please. So far, the available OSM quality assessment methods are dealing mostly with attribute completeness and other parameters of quality for the total and object completeness, of course, for the total of an area of interest. This approach can be highly misleading when in the area of interest, there are domain-specific mapping events that have taken place. In that case, the overall attribute completeness may be low and object completeness may be low, while the attribute completeness of specific features can be indeed high. We can see in the map here, it's again Kibera, the informal settlement, how many points of sanitation and water points have been mapped, while outside there's none, which is not, of course, the reality. So we see the difference in the quality. Here we can see what I want to show with this slide is actually that it's a quality measures according to ISO and the OSM data quality assessment, how it's done usually. From this categorization, we should keep completeness. Completeness is the absence of data, of course, as we understand, but also it's the excess of data. What is called in the ISO categorization as omission and commission. And we need that information for the next of the presentation, the next part. So really fast, the objective was to determine the parts of OSM data sets that need quality assessment, then to unify the existing fragmented vocabulary, to find a proxy somehow to determine at what places the quality of data in OSM for the specific fitness of use are better, and to provide, let's say, a baseline for a tool that can use OSM data to assist health services in Kenya, in my case, but if we could extend it to the global south. And this is with these research questions that we can come later if you like. So the use cases here were Nairobi County and Wajir County, totally different socioeconomically, really dense city of Nairobi County of 5.4 million inhabitants. That's night population, day population maybe 25 to 50% more than that. And Wajir County, not so dense, and one of the poorest counties in the country. So the methodology and the tools. So this is a scheme of the methodology. The first thing that I did was to define what is the need of the users, and specifically in my case, the health service workers. So with questionnaires, interviews, and reports, I tried to translate the needs into features and attributes, into keys and values of OpenStreetMap. And by that, compose actually the test data set for the quality assessment. Where do I get the data from then? I used Kenya OSM dataset, of course, but I used the RDF, the OSM, the RDF version. There is a tool provided by the University of Freiburg, which actually converts the OSM data into knowledge graphs. that from there you can take subgraphs and actually query them with Sparkle Engine. It's a language for querying RDF language. So by this, I composed the test dataset, and the reference dataset were authoritative data, because this is actually the protocol how we do the assessment. We test the dataset of let's say OpenStreetMap in our case to the authoritative dataset that they're supposed to be the correct, let's say, correct one. From the datasets, this subgraph of test, I also produced an ontology, and we'll come to that to explain what it is, to feed a potential web application. And also, the test dataset were used in complementary with OSM SA or OSM chains, which actually is the only way to query for hashtags and comments to understand how many chain sets have been produced from humanitarian mapping, to see if this humanitarian mapping, not only one, OSM and Map Kenya, and many others, to see if this humanitarian mapping project and events have actually contributed to the improvement of data quality. Data acquisition now. To get the data, it was a little bit difficult to get the authoritative data. I'm now working in regional programs with UNESCO, and I've seen that there's a big problem in Eastern Africa to get data from the authorities. I don't know if it's the case for Western Africa also. I don't want to generalize. But for example, in the back of that slide, you can see the code I had to write to scrape data from the site of the Ministry of Health, because otherwise I couldn't get the data. There's some concerns about data ethics, but the thing is that the data are there on the web, but instead of copying them and typing them, because this was not possible, I had to scrape them down with that code that you see on the background. The Kenya road board was very willing to help, and they shared the data. And for the water points, the data that I used were mostly, some of them were authoritative and some of them were from the UN, coming from the UN. So let's see the results here. Let me. So to define the user needs from the interviews and the questionnaires, the basic needs of the health service workers was navigation. So navigation, what do we need? I translate that into highway as, I'm sorry, I have to go back here, yeah. And all the values, of course, of the key highway. Traffic is not available on OSM, so I couldn't do nothing about that. Health facilities, to know what type of health facility is. So this was the vocabulary analysis of what you see on the right column. The level of administration of each facility, which is important for the health workers so that they can understand actually it implies the level of administration, what type of services are there in the facility. Also the department, medical services, the contacts, phone number, and operator type, if it's governmental or if it's private. Equipment that's not available as a key in OpenStreetMap, and water sanitation points with all the values. Sorry for the mistake at the right, with asterisks and so this is downloading the subgraph of Kenya OSM into RDF data. It's a very lightweight database actually to use. And this is how the code or Sparkle code looks like. For example, here, let me see. It's a query to find all the health facilities that there are in, if I see the number here, in Nairobi County. So this is the type of the Sparkle engine that you can query anything from OSM. So in Nairobi County, what we have here is that OSM data gave at November 22 961 facilities, while the authoritative data give 1,122. In the first, someone who doesn't know about in the first thought, someone who hasn't studied about that will say that, oh, wow, it's okay. It's about 80% of completeness, which actually it's not true, because completeness is actually calculated by how many of OSM facilities on the map are inside the authoritative data set. So, and this is what I was saying before about omission and commission. Commission is the extra, what OSM adds to the authoritative data that are not there, and omission is what is not there. So if we see the same data in level of constituencies of sub-counties, we will see here that the highest completeness is in Matare. The thing about Matare is that is the only sub-county that it's actually the borders of the informal settlement. And then inside the informal settlements, there are many mapping projects and events that have taken place. In Kibra is the sub-county of Kibera, actually. The completeness is lower, and that's mainly because actually Kibera is a part of Kibra. So inside Kibera, the percentage of completeness is high, but inside in the sub-county it gets lower because the mapping projects are usually not really outside the informal settlements. If we see that in numbers, in Nairobi County, we have 21, let's say, percent of completeness. In the informal settlements, this rises to 64, and especially in Matare, this goes up to 86%. And of course, not about object completeness, it's also about the attribute completeness. How many, because if we just have a health facility without any attributes inside, like what's the level, what is a contact number or something else, maybe that this is not enough. So in terms of attribute completeness, this is 33 in Nairobi County. This rises to 55 for informal settlements, and then we'll reach again 87% in Matare. Here's Matare now. Authoritative data in Matare is only 14, while OSM gives 150. Can you imagine that? What we see behind these numbers is that the state is absent there in the informal settlements. It's not there to see all the dispensaries, to see all the doctors, because actually, as we know, and we will say frankly, they don't care. So this is information that is produced by the people living in the informal settlements or communities that they care about, from the people and belong to the people. When assessing road networks, as we know all over the world, this is mostly the case. OpenStreetMap is much better than any other authoritative or non-authoritative data sets. You can see the numbers. Actually, the 36% of the roads are only OSM map, 4% only in authoritative maps. There's, of course, an overlapping. But the thing is about how to combine these data sets and produce something even better. It's not about who is better here, to produce something even better. So all these have been submitted to the Kenyan Roads Board, and hope they do something with that. So in Wajir country now, there was an important finding. Before the humanitarian, there was the Kenyan Red Cross that actually had an extensive mapping event around the county, but mostly in the Wajir town, which is the capital. And what it was observed that before the humanitarian mapping on November 22, actually there were only 11 health facilities mapped in Wajir, while after that, the number rose to 42. And we can see that on the town of Wajir. Before, you can see the red dots of the OSM, before OSM hot OSM mapping, and after that. These are the water points, actually somehow the same level. And the road networks, again, the OpenStreetMap network, it's more comprehensive than the authoritative one of the Kenyan Roads Board. And now let's go to the ontology. Yes?
You just have...
I'm sorry, cannot hear you. Okay, so should I continue then? So here is how we can find hidden information inside OSM data. So here we can see the level of the official level, the classification of health facilities in Kenya. This information does not exist in OSM explicitly, but what we can do, we can find other information that indicate the level as the medical staff. So if the medical staff is indicated inside OSM, because there is the vocabulary to do so, as we see here, health facility type clinic has medical staff. As a medical staff, it has a medical officer. Medical staff is the key medical officer is the value. So, or it doesn't have, it has 0. So we can say it's level 2, or we can say it's level 3, or we can say even it's level 6. And this ontology can provide valuable information to the health workers. The humanitarian mapping approach for quality here, as we can see here, what I did is actually calculating the change sets produced by humanitarian mapping in different parts of Nairobi. Here, of course, this is not, we don't have that to go through the table, but here we can see the correlations, the strong linear correlation between quality and the number of change sets. And this was actually taken from the changes of Map Kibera, very well known, OSM Kenyan and Map Kenya. This shows actually that when there is a mapping project going on somewhere, the quality, the completeness actually, so the completeness of objects in health services is far more better. In terms of attributes now, doing this Sparkle query, I tried to identify actually where are the objects with the most with a completeness in attribute. We see again that maybe you're not familiar with the map, but it's again on Map Kibera and Matare where all the humanitarian mapping events have taken place. So yes, with the ontologies and all that I've described, this is something very in the beginning, is how a schema, how a web application could work actually to address all the needs of health workers on the field about all the information they need of the health facilities. This is somehow how this seems like. It's like a query of whatever we need, whatever we search for from the health facilities. Go a little bit further, you get the points of what you need, and then you can see on the map the health facilities, click on them, and then go and see all the attributes and all the information that a health worker may need. So to conclude, if I have time, maybe I have 1 more minute or 2, I don't know. So there are some limitations.
Just in a statement, give us your conclusion. Thank you.
There are some limitations actually, which has to do that I depend a lot on a third party data from the University of Freiburg, and I'm not sure that if that will continue to provide the triplified data of OSM. Also, some other limitations that sometimes the vocabulary is local. So I don't know what extent I can expand this to other places. And of course, the vocabulary analysis and assessment is very is something that's temporal, because there are always new contributions from the mappers, let's say. And to conclude, I had some more things to do, but I'm out of time, I guess. I don't know if there's time for questions or something like that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eleftherios. Yeah, thank you. That's a nice presentation, value added to the academic track section of the SOTM Africa 2023. Yeah. Do we have questions from our audience before we move to the next speaker? I can't see any hand up.
So probably it was either perfect or no.
I have comments. I have questions. Yeah. Number one, I don't know, what's your motivation of using the title Global South? How many countries in the Global South did you actually address? And
the use cases, the use cases were only in Nairobi, because I'm here in Nairobi. I cannot travel, but I've seen things like that before. I've lived in Madagascar, but I was not there to make any use case there. Now I live in Kenya. Have lived some other for shorter times in other East Africa countries, but the use case are only for Kenya. What is the same thing that the shared attributes of those countries is that the emergency services and the health services are quite underdeveloped, and the data used for emergency response are usually underdeveloped. So this is an impression. I cannot back that with data, what I'm saying, but it is my impression and what I have my experience traveling and living at parts of the Global South, let's say.
Okay, thank you for that. Yes, for the purpose of academic scientific research in OSM. Yeah, hello. Yeah,
yes, this is Janan from Uganda.
Hi, Janan.
Okay, you have question?
Yes.
Do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I just wanted to inquire that about if he's now, like, he's in Nairobi, Kenya. When is he planning to have a tour to Uganda, so that at least he can compare the two countries, being that Uganda is nearby Kenya?
Oh, okay, that's a good one. I'm sure the speaker has taken note of that, because I can hear from him while he was presenting that he would like to expand the work. But from the academic research perspective, we would like maybe a topic like this to be specific to a particular location, because when you use academic Global South, it's so generic that anyone seeing it would assume that you may have addressed at least 5-6 or more countries in the global south, not just in Africa, but even part of the Asian countries that is part of the global south. Yeah, thank you very much for this. I'm sure you took note of the comments and the correction we require from the academic track committee. So do well to add those, make those corrections, and we are always here for you to see how you can expand the work and address specific issue. Thank you very much. We are going over to the next presenter. It's already time. Chair Parker Blessing. Chair Parker Blessing.
Thank you very much. Janan, if you can find my email, please email me with that. I would like to have a chat with you about that.
Yeah,
if you don't mind, you can put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So we have Blessing Chairpa presenting on mapping dwellings for off-grid services using.
I've shared my. Let me share mine here before.
Okay, beautiful.
Before you close.
Yeah.
So that
you can find my master thesis. You can find also the link in the chat of my master thesis. I think that it will answer many of your questions, and of course we can continue through emails. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Mine. I've shared mine there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we move to the next presenter, please?
Get in touch.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's stop the recording, I think, at the moment. Thank you so much.